The Alldocube iPlay 70 Mini Ultra is a tablet that caught my attention right away. On paper, it's marketed as an affordable but powerful mini tablet with a clean software experience, solid performance, and a display that could actually rival much more expensive competitors. But does it live up to those claims in real-world use? Well, after spending a lot of time with it, I've got plenty to say. But before we dive in, the price varies depending on where you buy it. On AliExpress, the 12GB plus 256GB model costs around 15,700 pesos, or roughly $250 US. Depending on where you're from, you can also grab it from Amazon Germany, Italy, France, Spain, Belgium, Netherlands, Japan, and even via Rakuten. And as always, we have exclusive links in the description box where you can check current discounts, so make sure to use those to get this tablet at the lowest price possible. If you're new here, thanks for stopping by. I'm Renzo and I feature useful and affordable tech gear on this channel. Go ahead and hit subscribe if you want to stay updated on more practical gadget reviews. Let's start with the design. This tablet comes in a dark gray color with an all-metal chassis. The side feels solid, the power button has a red accent, and the volume rocker sits right above it. It's a sleek design that looks more premium than what you would expect at this price. On the back, you get a 13-megapixel camera, and up front, a 5-megapixel camera for video calls. Now let me be clear, these cameras are functional at best. They'll work for Zoom or Teams, but you don't really want to use them for photos or video recording. One detail I do like is the speaker placement. They're positioned slightly higher on the sides, so even when you hold the tablet in landscape mode, you're not blocking them. Unfortunately though, the sound quality itself is tinny out of the box. Thankfully, DTS processing with the built-in equalizer really helps. I've adjusted the settings to boost the low end, and that minimizes the harsh, tinny quality. If you want, you can copy my EQ settings as you can see on the screen. The bezels in the front are a bit thicker on the top and bottom, but that's actually a good thing. In landscape mode, you don't accidentally touch the edges of the screen, so it feels more practical than bezel-less designs. And thanks to the vapor cooling chamber inside, even when I game heavily on this tablet, it only gets warm, never hot. Now, this is where I was most impressed. The 8.8-inch display has a resolution of 2560 by 1600, supports up to 500 nits of brightness, and comes with a 1500 by 1 contrast ratio. On paper, that ratio may not sound special, but in real-world use, it's more than enough. The display is bright, sharp, colorful, and very close in quality to the iPad mini. The iPad is only slightly more saturated, but in a pleasing way. And honestly, for the price difference, this Alldocube holds its own incredibly well. One interesting quirk, the brightness slider leans toward the bright side. I usually have to keep it around 1 to 15% to make the display dim enough indoors, and the near 16:9 aspect ratio is perfect for watching videos and gaming. The black bars are minimal, and I actually prefer this over the iPad mini's 3:2 ratio. I've been playing Alan Wake 2 remotely with the GameSir G8 Plus controller, and I honestly like the experience more than on the iPad mini, simply because of the wider display. Under the hood, you get the Qualcomm Snapdragon 7 Plus Gen 3, which is the same chipset inside the Xiaomi Pad 7. On Antutu benchmark, this pulls around 1.4 million points, which is squarely in mid-range category. Pair that with 12GB of RAM and 256GB of storage on my model, and performance is smooth. Everyday navigation is quick, animations render at up to 144Hz, and stutters are very rare. Now, compared to the Xiaomi Pad 7, I actually found the Alldocube faster in some situations. Why? Because it runs on Alldocube OS 3.0L, which is basically near stock Android for tablets. It doesn't come with all the heavy features and extras that Xiaomi's MIUI does, so you get a lighter, smoother experience. That said, it's not perfect. Swiping up to go home sometimes takes a second or two, some apps will freeze occasionally, though a quicker start fixes it, and you do lose out some multitasking window on tablet. But for gaming, this thing is a champ. I tested GTA San Andreas and even sideloaded Call of Duty Warzone Mobile, which isn't officially on the Play Store. Both ran smoother here than on the Xiaomi Pad 7. Warzone is limited to medium settings though, but gameplay was still consistent and stable. So while the Snapdragon 7 Plus Gen 3 isn't flagship level, it's more than enough for most mobile gaming and definitely for streaming PC games remotely. This tablet runs on Android 14 out of the box with promises of at least 1 to 2 years of updates. I asked Alldocube directly and they said they aim to support it as long as possible, but realistically, I would expect updates through Android 15 and maybe Android 16, which just released in June. There's minimal bloatware, mostly just a couple of games you can uninstall, and yes, you do get Google Gemini AI features built in, which is a nice bonus at this price. The only thing that might bother some users is the lack of certain features compared to bigger brands. For example, while there's a gaming mode, some apps like Facebook won't rotate properly into landscape mode. There's a setting to force the whole system into horizontal mode, but that also forces apps that are meant to stay vertical, which isn't ideal. Powering everything is a 7300 mAh battery. In my use, that gives me around 5 to 6 hours of screen time. Not the biggest number, but enough for a mini tablet that's geared toward portability. Charging is handled by the 20-watt USB-C port, which also supports earphones, OTG, data transfer, and even DisplayPort out with 4K decoding output. With the included charger, it takes about just under 2 hours to go from 0 to 100%. No headphone jack here, unfortunately, but given the support for USB-C audio and wireless headphones, I don't really miss it. On the wireless side, you get Bluetooth 5.4 and dual-band Wi-Fi 6. I thought this might be a weak point for such an affordable tablet, but I was wrong. Streaming games remotely at 14 megabits per second was consistently stable. There's no cellular connectivity, which might be a deal breaker for some. Personally, I only use mini tablets for browsing, streaming, and remote gaming, so I don't need LTE. One feature I really love is the microSD card slot. It's rare to see that in 2025, especially outside entry-level devices. I'm not sure of the maximum supported capacity, but it's a welcome addition. You also get a RAM expansion up to 8GB, though with the 12GB model, I honestly don't see the need, so I just left it off. For unlocking, there's no fingerprint scanner or face unlock, so you're stuck with a pin or swipe pattern. Not a huge deal, but worth mentioning. So what's it like to live with this tablet day to day? For me, the form factor is perfect for gaming and streaming. It's compact, lightweight, and the aspect ratio makes movies and games look amazing. Performance is snappy thanks to the clean software, and the display quality surprised me for the price. But the downsides are there. Speakers could be better, cameras are below average, there's no LTE option, and uncertain long-term software support. But the strengths far outweigh them. A beautiful display, solid mid-range tablet, microSD support, and that surprisingly premium build. Now, if I'm being honest, I wish this tablet came out earlier, before I bought the iPad mini, because for the way I use mini tablets, remote gaming, streaming, and casual browsing, this would have saved me a lot of money. The Alldocube iPlay 17 Mini Ultra isn't perfect, but it nails the fundamentals. It's fast, it's compact, it looks great, and the display is far better than you would expect at this price. If you're looking for a budget-friendly mini tablet that doesn't compromise where it matters, this is absolutely worth checking out. And don't forget, we have exclusive links in the description box where you can check current discount, so use those if you plan on picking one up. But that's it for this one. Drop a sub or like if you feel like supporting the channel, and as always, until the next one, stay safe.